All right. Who's ready for some DM Hotline? Who's ready? Who's ready? Because I am not. Lol. All right. I'm still eating my pizza. My timing was a bit off. All right. I'm ready? Good. Good. I'm glad somebody is. But the waiting room's empty, so I think we're fine. At the moment. I'm going to finish my pizza while we kind of let people pour in. And we pet the puppies. I'm ready. You guys ready to rumble? I am more than ready. I gotta make the... Stop. Homer, stop. I gotta make the private channel. All right, waiting room is available. Let me get my headset on. And you guys usually aren't like jumping in the waiting room right away. I'm trying to eat my pizza. Give Homer pizza. I know he wants some pizza. I know he does. Man, Nico's ready to go. Nico, you got something for me? Nico, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to eat my pizza while you talk to me. Look at this puppy. Spoiled little flab. All right, Nico. Can you hear me? Oh, I need to switch the headset. All right, say something.
I said, hello.
What's up, buddy?
It is going down. All right, so in my Wednesday game, we decided to leave off on a major cliffhanger before an all-out siege on a whole town, like a whole city, major city. Thing is, never really ran anything like this before.
Stop.
So, hoping you have experience in similar things, I would like pointers.
Running what? City games?
Like, last we left off on Wednesday games session, there was about to be a siege on a whole city, like an all-out attack on this major city full of like other warriors. So the people defending themselves, not too big of an issue. I'm just wondering if there's like anything extra we could do to like still create that feel of the whole city's being attacked.
What is the party doing during the siege?
They're going to be trying to, one, make sure the people are safe, and two, fend off the major group of people leading this advance, which is a whole bunch of vampires and other forms of undead.
So whenever you're running the siege, but the siege is just a backdrop. Still, you treat it just like any other session. Because the siege that's going on, unless you want, do you want like specific siege mechanics that you want the party to get involved with? Or is this, because it sounds like the siege is just a thing that's happening in the background while you run the party through the rescue missions. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah. I guess so, but like one thing I think would be interesting to help create that feel is maybe like minor missions that they have to get certain groups of people to safety. Like obviously kids can't defend themselves, so they got to get them somewhere as safe as possible.
Yeah. So while the siege is going on, you build an encounter just like you would in a dungeon. Build an encounter, put that at a location where the siege is happening. Like the siege is just a backdrop. It's just a background. It's just like it's a wallpaper. Build an encounter that would happen within a siege. Put children behind it, like So the siege is an ongoing thing. The castle that is being, or the city that is being sieged is the dungeon. Actually, the buildings around the party right now are the dungeon room. In one of those dungeon rooms, a building, there's a combat. And then children are the reward. I know that sounds. The loot, when they open, like the loot, the reward for winning this encounter is children, saving them.
Yeah.
So just treat the siege like it's in the background. Okay. You could have because it's effectively a backdrop. All right. Every once in a while you could have like a ballista bolt fly through a wall. You could treat that like a trap. Like suddenly there's a trebuchet, a rock just kind of falls through the ceiling. Like while you're moving through and doing stuff, a rock falls through the ceiling, from a trebuchet, or ballista bolt flies through or something, does some damage. You could treat those like traps. Like maybe you could have a trigger behind it. What I would do is you could treat it exactly like a trap. Roll a perception. You hear a rumble. No, roll a perception. You hear, or a lair action. Chat says a lair action. That's good too. So Rogue, roll a perception. You hear in the enemy, in the enemy accent, the siege. What's sieging the city? Is it demons or?
This is like a big assault from a true-blooded vampire lord mafia boss.
Okay, so so Rogue, roll a perception. You passed. You hear in a Transylvanian accent, "Fire the ballista." Boom.
All right.
And lair actions is great, and have lair actions as well. The lair actions could be trebuchet, boulder, ballista bolt, fire, some kind of like, what's it called? What's that oil and fire mixture? Anyway, alchemist fire. Like alchemist fire flies in. It's a vampire, so you could have like a bat swarm. Like one of the lair actions could be bat swarm shows up. Napalm. No, not napalm. That's not. I mean, Greek fire. Like thank you, Dragon. That's Greek fire was what I was trying to think of.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, whenever the players because they're going to start heading into the front lines eventually. So when they get to that, one battle or waves?
When they get to the front line? I would keep them. I would keep them away. Wait. All right, go ahead.
well, not like the front lines. They're gonna be like charging towards like the people leading, like guiding the siege. But like the
Yeah.
generals.
Just treat that like a regular encounter. Like you wouldn't build that. I don't think you would build that any differently.
Yeah. I
Just build
guess
it. Just
like
build it just like you would any other encounter. Like you're like what you're describing is just another encounter. Like okay, the general and some dudes are around him, and they're at this location. Right. Just build it like how you know what? Let me ask this. Like maybe I'm misunderstanding. Let me ask you this. How do you want it to be different from a regular encounter? Maybe I should have opened with that. How do you want this to be different than a regular encounter? What do you want to be different about it? Let's start there.
well, I guess one way is the the feel of the encounter, because most like I wanted them to truly differentiate this like battle while knowing like major stuff's going on, and differentiate it in a major way from like just swarming a few goblins. Like the style.
Okay. Where does the feel and the style of an encounter come from?
Well, to me, like most of it does come from like knowing what is going on, but also like I think I could use the layer actions thing. That might have been what I was trying to look for.
Well, no. Think about that question. Where does the feel of an encounter come from? Monsters, sound effects, abilities, the art, music.
Environmental environmental factors, I guess. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's how you force it.
Yeah.
I could tell you like numbers and mechanics aren't going to do anything for the style. It does nothing for the style. It's an interesting it's an interesting way to spice it up, to add interesting mechanics, but interesting mechanics and flavor are like wildly different. Wildly different. And you need to like make that distinction whenever you start trying to make something feel a specific way. You got to make the distinction between flavor and mechanics, because I could give you interesting siege mechanics, or I could give you like let me ask you this: what do you think is going to have more impact on the feel? Siege sound effects, like people yelling, rocks falling, castles crumbling, sound effects in the background, and music, artwork of like a siege and enemies, specific enemies, vampire related enemies, or siege related mechanics. Which one of those do you think is going to provide the most feel that you're looking for?
Yeah, I think the first one for me, honestly.
Yeah. So that's really just find that artwork, find those enemies that make you feel, and like create some unique enemies that kind of accentuate, because you can't. I mean, you don't have to choose one or the other. You could have, let's see, it's a vampire. You could have like maybe this undead minion that launches vampire spawn. Like maybe they got these like little, some kind of weak enemy that they put into a ball and launch over the wall, and then now there's like this ball of vampire spawn that they got, like little vampire spawn goblins, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
If you want like that stuff like that, then undead siege giant, yeah. If you want stuff like that, then just look up the stat blocks for siege weapons, like specific siege weapons. I'm sure they have some. Just create. I know you don't mind creating. Create some stat blocks that are literally moving, living siege weapons. A dragon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I love things. You've seen the stats for my Mecha Tarrasque, right?
Sure. Yeah. Stuff like
Perfectly
that.
fair and balanced, not TPK material.
Anything else?
One other thing.
I'm ready.
It's been about 4 or 5 years since I ran an IRL game, mostly because people in my town don't really do anything D&D related. But I finally found this little group. I'm gonna try and get them together.
Okay.
Problem is, I don't know. It just feels a bit. I don't want to walk in there not knowing how to handle everything because it's been 4 years and my skills as a social person has only gone down.
Okay. So you're not confident that you'll.
Yeah.
I mean, all that confidence is going to come from experience anyway. So there's the more that you run. What I would do is rehearse your lines. So the very first thing, so you're going to start the session off. Like once the players sit down, it's going to be on you as the DM to start the session off. You're going to say, "All right, when last we left off this," or if this is this in-person game the one that you're going to continue, or is this a brand new one?
This is going to be a brand new one.
Brand new.
People, new stuff, yeah.
So rehearse your opening lines because everything after that's going to be reactionary. I actually talked about this last week, I think. So rehearse how you're going to open it up. And it only needs to be like a paragraph or two long. So rehearse what you're going to say, like, "Hey, welcome." And just, say it out loud. Like sit in front of, I've even gone so far as to set up these little stuffed teddy bears at a table and just talk to them. That's a common public speaking. When I took public speaking in college, that's one of the things they say practice in front of a mirror works too. I'm not about that. I set up these little rubber duckies. I'll put those in front of me or some little teddy bears and just talk to them. And then just practice your opening because your opening line is going to set the stage. And then everything after that, you're just going to be reacting to what somebody says to you. So an example would be you start in a tavern and this is going on here. This is going on there. This is going on there. Just rehearse those lines. And then everything after that, you're just going to react. Think about how they might react to specific things, what's on the menu, etc. So yeah, that's how I think that will be the best way as far as starting off how you'll build confidence in your opening session.
All right. I think that's all I needed. Gonna try and clip the first part. So review it with my co-DM. We'll get some things racking through our brains. I think that's all I needed, yeah.
Good luck, buddy.
All right. Yeah. I'll see you later. Stay cool, Sam. Chat. You stay chat.
Stay chat. Ain't that mirrors can be ugly. You can never have a plan for everything. Just be confident in what you say and have boundaries in place for your sanity. This is true. All right, Benji. Let's get it. DM hotline, what you got?
Hold on, I have to. All right. I had to mute the YouTube site so I didn't get double feedback.
Sure.
So, I actually talked to you about this in chat a bit, which is, so I had been letting my players roll their stats. I wanted to give them a chance to use the honor system. That in retrospect, that might not have been the best idea.
Okay.
So one of my characters got absolutely absurdly improbable stats, to the point where it was less than 1% chance of getting that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized I don't feel like I can trust that player.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's going to impact our relationship as a DM to player thing,
Well,
because
wait,
if
what
I
will
don't
what
have that
will
level of
what will impact the trust?
the fact that I don't feel that I can trust them.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. So I've taken up your suggestion. Now I will either roll stats, so I remove the trust element, or we go with like standard array or point I. But I feel like it might be kind of damaging to. Yeah, he is a bit too OP, Tracer.
Talk to me, not chat.
I feel like it's damaging to the relationships between me and my players, because I don't feel like I can. Hold on. Mute. All right. I. You can behave. Okay. Ugh. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Technical difficulties.
Sure. I'll take a minute and
Right.
kind of. Oh, nope. You good?
Yeah. So I was wondering if you have any advice on like how to deal with that, because like I know you generally don't use like a system that has like any need for trust in it,
Mhm.
but I also want players to feel like they can be like I don't want it to feel like I don't trust them, even though I don't trust one of them, and I make a blanket rule, but I feel like it might be harmful to implement such rules.
It sounds like you're having a really hard time like clarifying what it is you want. So can you start over with the question?
Yeah. Sorry. How can I like repair that relationship if I suddenly move to requiring them to either show their roles on D&D Beyond or like over a video call, because I feel like that's going to impact the relationship between me and my players.
So you're all right. Let me make sure I'm understanding. You're saying that by changing the way you run the game, from now on we're gonna roll dice in front of everyone, including from now on we're gonna roll all of the dice in front of everyone. Stats are gonna be standard array, etc. And you're saying that we're going to do that from now on, and you're worried that that's going to have a negative impact on trust across the table?
Yeah, because like I originally said, I want to be able to trust my players, so I'm letting you guys roll your own stats. And it's just this one player, but I feel like it's going to. When you said it that way, it makes it sound a lot more irrational, which could say something about the nature of my worries. Do you think that's going to be an issue, or?
No, just make sure that it's fair across the board. Don't say, all right, everybody else can roll behind the screen except for this one player.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's everyone.
Yeah.
And including you.
Yeah.
I as a DM roll all of my dice. I'm mostly saying this for chat, but when I run games, I eliminate trust completely because I run a lot of new players. I run a lot of players that I've never run before, because whenever I run a game, I'll usually ping the community and I'll start grabbing people that I never run before. And whenever I run a new game, I'll usually just cycle in new people. I want to experience all the different kinds of players there are and all the different people in the world. So I always run new people. I try to keep a base of people that I've run before, but for the most part, I want to experience just so I can make sure the game moves forward. But I make sure I want to cycle in new people. Whenever you're running new people like that, there's no trust. You haven't had a chance to build it. You don't trust a complete stranger that you just met. You can trust. There's a little bit a basic conversational level of trust, but so I eliminate trust completely. All of my rolls are right in front of everyone. Every roll, I roll digital because I run online, but all the rolls are right in front of everyone. You see everything. all of my monsters, like there's no question marks. I'll generally use monsters like stat blocks will be adjusted, but I even go so far whenever I put in the effort, I'll even go so far as to reveal health bars, like so you know exactly how much health they have. And whenever they do damage, I'll mark it like you see it. Like I want all of the data to be right in front of people. I know that's not for everybody because like some people like, oh, how would they? You can't actually see a health bar. But I mean, there's plenty of tactical games that I play at least that feel very challenging, even though they have all that information.
Hold on, 1 sec.
My goodness, Benji. Steely always crits me as dice are rigged. I'm actually going to finish that thought. So I reveal my health bars and things like that. Legendary resistance. I think that creates a lot of tension when you reveal legendary resistance. Like I'll put slashes right there. I'll draw slashes on the battle map. Whenever they're fighting a boss, I'll put slashes on the map as they cut through their legendary resistance. Builds a lot of tension that way. It's great. Go ahead, Benji. What you got? Or was I finishing? Benji, buddy. Are you here?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. So
do we need to all right, go ahead.
So yeah, you're saying that for like everything I should just keep it out in the open?
Yeah. Everything that they do, every roll that they make, damage or otherwise, right in front of you, right in front of everyone. Every roll that you make, damage, attack roll, anything, saves, skills, death saves, everything right in front of everybody. There's nothing hidden except the stat block. And even then.
Yeah, I assume abilities of the monster are not going to be regularly shown, but like
mine are after they're used. Usually when I use an ability, it depends. It depends on the monster. But yeah, I mean that alone builds trust. Like a lot of the time, like if they're fighting some enemy that they're unfamiliar with, or you're using a unique stat block, and then they use this ability that they've never seen before, I will usually use that ability, tell them how it works, and then reveal it. Like and then show them on the stat block this ability. This is how this ability works mechanically.
Okay.
Like it's like the information is revealed.
Yeah, that makes sense. If I were to use something with a cooldown like a dragon, would I let them know how quickly it's cooling down? Or
oh yeah, I love that. So the dragon's breath weapon has a recharge. You roll a d6, and then if it's a 6, 5, or some of them are 5 or 6 recharge, they get the ability back. I make it a thing. Whenever I'm running something with a recharge ability, and at the start of their turn, when I have to roll the recharge, I make it a thing, because the recharge ability usually hits the entire party pretty hard. A breath weapon hurts, and you got to deal with it. So whenever I'm running a game, it's the dragon's turn. It's like, all right, dragon's turn. Here's the recharge. Y'all ready? And then I'll roll it right in front. Roll the d6. Sometimes I'll even remind them, like, all right, here's the recharge. Y'all ready? If this is a 5 or a 6, this dragon gets the breath weapon back. And then I'll roll it right in front. Like that builds a lot of tension. Like, oh man, what is this? Like, are they going to have a breath weapon back this turn? Are we going to have to deal with that? And then you roll it, and it's like it's a 4. It's like, whew. You roll it right in front of them. It's a 4. Everybody at the table is like, oh, thank goodness. Okay, all right. Well, what's it going to do instead? Kind of thing.
Is there a way, flavor-wise, that their characters would know?
Who cares
about this?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Numbers, like the numbers on a sheet, are mechanics. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. Like separate the sheet from what's going on entirely. Don't try. I recommend this to everyone. Do not try to incorporate what's on a sheet, hit points, AC, abilities, any of that. Don't bother trying to incorporate something on a sheet into roleplay. I know not everybody's excited to hear that, but I don't care if your intelligence is an 8 or an 18. If you want to roleplay being dumb, you can roleplay being dumb. If your strength is an 8 or your strength is an 18, you can roleplay the character how you want. It's the same thing for monsters. I separate mechanics completely from the roleplay aspect. Now, sometimes I'll use role play to hint at mechanics. Like you drop a fireball on a fire elemental, I will say, it appears that your fireball doesn't do any damage, or they appear immune to that fire damage.
Okay. And so, like, resistance would be, it doesn't look like it does as much damage as you were expecting.
The thing about resistance
like
is
that?
I will say it flat out. I won't hint. I will say it flat out. If they burn a spell slot or an arrow or what, if they burn a resource to do damage and the monster resists that damage, I'm going to let them know it now that they've burned that resource. If they're fighting if they're fighting, but we'll use the fire example for the fire elemental example again. So if there's a wizard, he's got or we'll use like a fire lizard, so it's not so obvious. Like there's some kind of red lizard folk creature, and the wizard's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know what its resistances are. Let's try a firebolt." Boom. I'm going to say your firebolt hits the lizard on its scales, and the singy embers kind of resist that fire damage. I will literally say it appears resistant to fire damage. I want them to make sure they understand that information. They burn that action, they burn that spell. I'll make it flat out known. I'll try to add some flavor to it, but I'll make sure that it's known. This creature is resistant to that damage. Now that you've expended a resource, you know this.
So, are there things you suggest I should not keep in the open?
No. Everything. I mean, everything. I guess the stat block. I guess the 8, like, are you asking, are there things that you should keep hidden from the players at all times, even if they've like managed? Because even AC, like, okay, I swing a 17 misses. All right. A 19 hits. It's like, okay, maybe, all right, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Kind of
They're
thing.
going to figure it out eventually.
Yeah. My logic with that kind of stuff, I play a lot of tactical video games. I play a lot of them. Disgaea, Final Fantasy Tactics Ogre, like Pokemon. All of these turn-based games give you all of the information.
Yeah.
And it's never felt a lot of the arguments that I hear about giving information is that, oh, it makes it less challenging. How would the party know that this creature is resistant to fire? How would they know how many hit points they have? And in my head, it's like, I don't care. It's just a mechanical thing. How would I know that Caterpie has 15 hit points? How do I know? My character doesn't know that, but I don't care. That's usually one of those conversations that come up like, oh, D&D's not a video game. But I mean, I can be just as immersed in a video, as some of you have seen. I can be just as immersed in a video game as D&D. If you have trouble with immersion, maybe that could be your thing. That's not my thing. The numbers, I like the numbers. I like making tactical decisions based off all of the information that is available. So I don't mind if the players know that this creature has 3 spell slots, 15 AC, 100 health, vulnerability to fire. I like having that. I like them knowing this information and being able to make conscious tactical decisions based off of it. It's a lot more fun for me as a player and as a DM when all the information is there and I'm making these tactical decisions rather than shooting in the dark. Like, oh, is this troll immune to fire, or is this troll vulnerable to fire, kind of thing. It's like, no, I know this troll is vulnerable to fire. I need to like get my fire scrolls out. We're going to burn these fire resources, kind of thing. So to answer your question in the longest way possible, no, I don't hide any information from my players. Well, there may be some question marks at the start, but if they reveal that information, I'll make it apparent. But that is me. So that's a me thing. That is very much a me thing. Even chat's saying that's a me thing. Not everybody has to do with that. That's just a me thing.
Yeah. All right. I used to use this mechanic where if they did a medicine check after seeing someone deal damage to it, they could kind of judge how much damage that did and determine their hit point total. But I think that's just a bit more like work than it's worth. So I guess just telling them the hit points is like an adequate thing. Yeah.
I mean, my argument, like my stance is that all of these tactical games that I've played that are challenging have all the like Tactics Ogre is no joke. That game's hard. Final Fantasy Tactics is hard. But in those two games, you can literally click the enemy and pull up their character sheet. You can see all the gear that they're wearing and what stat benefits they have. You can see all the spells they have prepared. Like you get to see all of you get to see their health by the number right above their heads, the mana they have right above their heads. And you have to make a tactical decision based off that. And I think that's more fun than just kind of shooting in the dark and like, okay, whatever.
Right. Does this also apply to allowing other players to view each other's character sheets
Yes.
so they can make better strategic decisions around? Okay.
Benji, all the information. Healing a party member is a tactical decision. That party member has 20 out of 60 health. Is a heal the right choice? That's a tactical decision. No shooting in the dark at all.
All right. Yeah.
Even health.
Yeah.
Even each other's character sheets. Like what spells does our wizard have prepared? All of that tactical. Because for me, combat is just a separate thing from roleplay. And I like the tactical aspect of combat. And information is way more satisfying when you can it's way more satisfying to make tactical decisions when you have the information. That's like clear cut for me. Clear cut. Tactical information, more fun.
Right. So like pack tactics, everything like that. If it appears they're fighting better in like groups. Yeah. All right.
There's some fun to be had in the reveal. Like you don't know what this monster's capable of until they do it. I acknowledge that there is some fun. Sometimes I will slide that in there. Like sometimes you just don't know. And then they have to find out. Like you don't know what spells the enemy has prepared. And they drop a fireball and you're like, oh dang, this thing's got a fireball. Sometimes that's fun. But that's an experience. That's experience based. Like what do I want to be revealed versus what do I not want to be revealed?
Right.
Anything else?
Yeah. So my second thing, I really hope none of my players are on right now, but I'm planning on starting off. They're going to be like all in different parts of a tavern. Just they happen to be there in a really small town, and I want the town to be attacked by just like a group of goblins that are trying to like just cause chaos because they find it funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there? You were talking a bit about siege mechanics, but for like a small town, I don't think that would work. So how would you incorporate like a crowd of people into combat? Like if everyone's trying to run away and like trampling over each other and getting caught in the crossfire.
If there's a crowd of people, to put it simply, the crowd of people is just difficult terrain. So treat it like this. Draw a square. This square is a crowd of people. You don't even have to put tokens. Don't even bother putting tokens down. This square is a crowd of people. They are difficult terrain. This square will last 3 rounds, and then the crowd will disperse. Don't bother trying to put a bunch of tokens down. Just draw a square. This is a crowd of people. In 3 rounds, this will no longer be a crowd of people. Mechanically, this area is difficult terrain as you navigate the crowd. Because it doesn't matter if like somebody runs up with a sword and kills somebody in the crowd. It's still a crowd of people. It's one less person in the crowd, but it's still a crowd. Like functionally, it's still a crowd.
It's like a swarm, basically. But
yeah, and then as a DM, you can kind of make educated like if somebody drops an area of effect spell, if somebody drops a burning hands into the crowd, you can say, okay, the crowd has now been dispersed because half the people are dead from a burning hands. There's no longer a crowd there. If players want to use an ability, a fireball, burning hands, some kind of a lightning bolt, some kind of area of effect ability to clear the crowd, you don't got to keep track of damage. You don't kind of keep track of health. It's just a bunch of commoners. The crowd has been dispersed because you just dropped an AoE spell.
Yeah, I kind of want to have a way to like determine how devastating to the population this attack was.
Oh, that's some real why?
Because that will influence how NPCs react to the goblins and how much they're gonna focus on exterminating them at the source.
That's going to take some work.
Um,
You could do levels like the party does well, the party does meh, the party does terrible. If they do terrible, 80% of the population was wiped out. I would not recommend doing like specific numbers. That's excessive. It's not like you're going to
okay.
come out with it's not like you're going to come up with a different scenario. So what I would do, what I would suggest is create a handful of NPCs, maybe 5. Create a handful of NPCs, give them a token and a stat block, and if they live, something happens. If they die, something happens. So now you have 5 so this is an actual impact on the game, on the world. You have 5 NPCs within the crowd. They have their own token. So the party knows that they're important, probably, maybe. And if one of them dies, something like an event happens or does not happen. So now you
Oh,
can
and
clearly see things are going to happen if they live or die, rather than have a crowd and
and
try to gauge the
mhm,
amount of crowd that's left.
yeah, and representing them as individuals and having the party know who are the important individuals is another
Exactly.
aspect of just keeping it in the
Exactly.
open and allowing them to make attack. Okay.
If you have the dwarven blacksmith have a separate token from the crowd, then everything that dwarven blacksmith does in combat is going to build on their character. Maybe the dwarf yells out, "Oh, yeah, taking my shop," and then pulls out a hammer. That's character building. Like the party's going to bond with
Yeah.
this character. If they like, if they, you know, hold the hammer up in front of them and then blow on it and it bursts into flames and then they start swinging, they're gonna be like, man, that dwarf is awesome. They'll know his name, they'll bond that alone, just that one sentence, they're gonna be like, that
So
dwarf
it's a
is
way I
cool.
can introduce important NPCs as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And if that dwarf dies,
Um.
the party no longer has access to the blacksmith. If the dwarf lives, then you can make it clear you are now rewarded with having access to a blacksmith.
Okay, so I can also have specific rewards based on who survives. And okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's helpful.
that's what I meant
Great.
when I said have
Thank you.
like,
I did not know how I
yeah.
was going to do this.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said have 5 NPCs who live or die, whose lives are going to have consequences on the outcome. If the dwarf
Yeah, and
lives, if the
I
party,
guess
go ahead.
I guess also the amount of NPCs who die or don't die is also going to sort of reflect how devastating the attack is overall,
Yeah, that's what
since
I
it
meant. It's
judges
just,
how well the players did.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they lose all 5 of them, you can tie the size of the crowd to these 5 NPCs. For every one NPC that dies,
Okay.
20% of the crowd goes away. Like you just kind of tie them,
Yeah.
because there's no way the party's going to keep track of 50 NPC names. If you start yelling out like, okay, a fireball goes off, it looks like Bob, Sally, Benjamin, like you start naming a bunch of names of people that died. It's like I can't keep up with this. But if you just have like those 5 characters there, it's like, oh man, the dwarf lives, but Sally's down. It's like, oh no, not Sally. That was the elf that ran the alchemy shop. And it's like, oh no, now we don't have the
Yeah.
alchemy shop. That kind of thing.
Should I sort of introduce them to these people beforehand, or
That's on you. Like introducing them in combat
okay,
sounds fun. Introducing them beforehand sounds fun. Whatever.
okay? I guess I could also make them roll to see if they know who this individual is.
Yeah. Or give them
But
options. Like, hey, there's an alchemy
I'll
shop.
figure
There's a
that out.
tavern. There's a black. Give them options.
Yeah.
Like before the
Right.
siege.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right. We got
That
people waiting. Yeah.
has been helpful. All right.
Glad
I
to hear
will
it.
talk to you next time.
Later, bud. Optional objectives. Yeah, I love optional objectives. Video games do a really good, like tactical video games do a really good job with like the optional objectives. I love those. I'm trying to incorporate them more in my combats in D&D. All right. Thank you for waiting. DM Hotline. How can I help you?
Oh, hey there, Sam.
Hey.
Oh, hey, man. Yeah, I just have a couple questions on party cohesion
I'm ready.
and just overall tips on like, in a sense, I don't want to use the word, but the apparent word railroading.
Uh-huh.
So, first off, party cohesion. I can't exactly get my party to communicate with each other, and I feel like I don't want to point fingers, but two of the characters opted to make kind of lone wolf rogue style characters that, barely talk or not necessarily the strong silent type, just the more I keep to myself and I like reject anything from the outside because I would have like NPCs try to talk to them and it's like, nope. And just, to heck with
Okay.
you. It's like, I don't want to be part of this.
Okay. Can you?
A
Go ahead.
lot of that, oh no, I was going to say a lot of that, what's it called? Has to do with like more independent type of things. Like they just want to keep themselves, do cool stuff, and like kill a lot of enemies. I think, yeah.
Okay. What about the rest of the party? So you have
Rest-
you have two like dark and broody lone wolf anime
Yeah.
type characters. They've got like the comically large katana, the black hair.
It's more like edgy backstory, and I'm
Edgy
a child of the
backstories.
night essentially.
Child of the night. My people.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the rest of the party? How does the rest of the party feel about them? Are they just kind of like eye rolling, or are they okay with it?
Other two are cool with it. They're more video game-esque players, so they like the stats of the journey. So if they can like fight cool enemies or like get like broken magic items, they're all for it. I have two newer players, however, who are more interested in the role playing and the lore
Nice.
of
Okay.
the homebrew session.
That was my
And
next question.
yeah, I what's it called? It's my first one, and I try to bring as much to the table as I can. But a big thing that I've learned about it is you can't make people care about it. So while a couple are like really intrigued and trying to get invested in like this whole open aspect of it, the other two are kind of like not necessarily like it's not like they say they're not interested in it, but it comes apparent with the fact that there's no note taking, there's no just like option to like what are we doing here again, and then like someone else has to remind them at the end of the day, like the DM has to remind them there for this and this and this. But it's like nobody talks to each other, like no the characters don't have an investment, and yeah, I don't think like I think I've heard like you can't make people invest in your story. You can just have them go along as much as they can for as much as they feel they want.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't make them invested in. Okay. So my first question, I really want to hone in on this. You said that we have two lone wolves, we have two new players who like to role play, and then the other two want to find like broken stuff and fix it. Was that,
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So but they're not interested in the story that you have in mind, right? None of them are interested in the story?
I can't say that for sure because I feel like sometimes they enjoy it. The characters are really rough to like interact with, if that makes sense. Like it's like, yeah, I like that. That was fun or that was cool, and I can't exactly get like a point of like access to like ease them into the world and beyond. Like, and they didn't come up with like attentive backstories. It's more along the lines of I was a child soldier, or I was like the Batman route. My parents were murdered in front of me, and all I feel is remorse, anger, and vengeance in my heart. And I want to bring like a string, like something that gets them invested in it. But more along the lines, it's just been I'm powerful and I'm not gonna die, so I don't really like no consequences.
Okay.
Type of deal.
So let me ask you, do you feel so? It's clear to you that they're not really invested in the story. Like you kind of get that vibe, like, oh, I'm forgetting NPC names and why are we here, kind of thing. Like that's coming up. But do you feel that they are interested in the game itself? Like, do they show up on time? Do they like? Are they interested in their character? Are they interested in the game itself? Not necessarily the story, but like the game overall. Like,
yeah, I think one of them very much is the. I can't say much about the other one because he works late, but yeah.
So as long as they're invested in the game, they're it sounds like they're kind of telling you what they want out of the game. So they're invested in the game, so you don't have to worry about that. So in a way, they're kind of telling you what they want or their expectations from the game itself. You want the story, like you're trying to give them a story, and they're like, oh, I don't really care. I'm doing my lone wolf thing. And one thing I want you to keep in mind about the lone wolf characters, because I have a lot of experience with them and I know how to handle them. Being the lone wolf that ignores the story is a character. There's a difference. There is a huge difference between not playing a character, not being interested. That's why I asked. That's why my first question was, are they interested in the game? There's a huge difference between not playing a character and playing a character that's not interested in the story. Because that's what defines those lone wolf characters, is their apathy for what's going on. That's the character that they're playing. It may like hurt that they're ignoring the story, but that's the character. It's not that they're showing up and like, I don't care about this game. Like, whatever, let's roll some. Like, is it initiative time? Wake me up when initiative starts so I can just start swinging and stuff. That's not what's going on. They're playing a character that is apathetic towards what's going on. And that's what defines them.
Okay.
So lean into that. And they want to kill a lot of stuff. Give them lots of stuff to kill. Like, make them feel as awesome as they want to be. Like, in moments in Bird. Like, not all the time, but give them moments where they feel awesome. Like, you're one of your lone wolf guys, like, just wants to kill a bunch of stuff. Put them up against a bunch of goblins. Like, even during combat, you can have like a little side section going on just for him to run up and like kill a bunch of goblins while the party handles, like.
Okay.
Give them the spotlight. Like, every player should have the spotlight at some point. Think about what the lone wolf character spotlight looks like.
All right.
And
I
then
think I see what you're coming from. Yeah.
And then when you role play with NPCs, you've already got the two new people that love role playing with NPCs. So lone wolf guy is just not. So the spotlight in combat will be on the lone wolf guys. And then the spotlights in RP will be on your new players that you described. You said the new players are like, love role playing their NPCs. So when it's their turn to have the spotlight, you can just like, all right, here's some NPCs to role play with.
Yeah, because they just joined the game and they built their backstories like connecting with each other. And
those are the best.
I know it opened up so much branches, especially for the next arc of the story. But the thing is, we got to a point where I kind of messed up, and they're kind of facing some repercussions right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just that's also what I want to talk about is railroading.
Okay, let's talk about
themselves in a position where it's going to be hard to get out of, because it's not that it's not survivable. It's just that it's very unfavorable because they're on a time schedule, and I think because of that, the world is effectively just going to turn a dark turn, and I don't know how to like pluck them out of that. And here's a seed of hope, just without making it feel like picking them up and like erasing everything they did.
Yeah, like you fixed it.
Yeah, like, oh, this is an eraser, and I just erased this part. I don't want that.
Okay. All right, let's get specific. Describe the event to me. Maybe we can come up with something.
So, one of my characters is a Kenku, and this is part of the story, they canonically hate other birds or aviated creatures. And on an airship, they saw a rock, flying down the valley below. And worse comes to worse, and they end up using the ship to try and crash into the rock. And because of that, they crash landed the airship in the middle of a string of mountains that connect to like valleys and ravines and whatnot. And they're basically pretty much in a precarious situation. However, the place they were on the ship going to was like a month's of travel by foot, but like would have been like weeks or so via airship.
Okay, so the airship
now
crashed.
They're in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, the airship crashed in the middle of nowhere, and they're a long way from where they need to be.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay. Is there a crew on this airship, or is it just the party? What NPCs are around?
So the thing about the lone wolf character, I don't know what happened, but one of the characters was the captain that denied them from taking it over. However, the other character knocked the captain out, commandeered the steering, and failed the rolls and had everybody crash. And the crew, unfortunately, who were just standard crewsmen, they didn't necessarily get well on their saves and ended up all pretty much expiring, along with a former player character.
So there's a wrecked ship in the middle of nowhere, a month away from their destination, and and it's just the party, no NPCs around.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And the biggest thing is I'm on the fence about, because there was going to be like a late game type of thing. They haven't met this character yet. It's a grand wizard that is going to use a teleportation circle to send them to another part in the continent that has like its own rules and variations and blah blah blah. But effectively, that character would have been important because he discovers like chronomancy, the utmost, and like he's fixing different timelines. And I don't want it to be like, you know, a poll from like, oh, he's come to fix this timeline. But I don't want it to be like, oh, hey, what y'all didn't matter or whatnot. So
Okay.
I'm just strongly on the fence about it, because at the same time, crashing was very disadvantageous to their whole situation, but at the same time, it was their choice. And from what I heard last time, it was like, yeah, it was our choice, and it was fun that we made that choice. And I was like, okay, I don't want to take that away.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. They're enjoying it. They're enjoying it. Like roll. Yeah. Lean into it. What I would do if you want to kind of have some fun irony, I think what I would do with it, just to kind of turn it around on them, is next session when you start there, like next session starts in at the crash site. That's the question. Or is that where the
no, they had moved on from the crash site and are trying to find. I let them roll a history check, and I came up with like a city that wasn't too far from like
perfect
a river, and now they're looking for a river.
That's what I'm looking for. All right, that's what I was hoping for. Okay, so here's what I want you to do, or here's what I would do. Here's what I will.
Yeah,
you can mold this however you see fit. So next session, they find the river. As they're traveling through the river, I want you to put them in a combat. Right, let the lone wolves like really flex on them.
That's a part of it. There were inklings of like different tribal statues and accoutrement, and like different like little tribe sticks with like warding like wards on them, and effectively animals have been stalking them. So it's an orc band that worships Groomsh that lives in the forest in the mountains, and effectively that's the repercussion, that they have to fend themselves off against this orc tribe and get to the nearest town.
All right. Let me finish. So they're following the river, and they find this big. They find a bunch of enemies, and the lone wolves like make sure that these combats are where the lone wolves get to shine. That like make sure you put emphasis on them, because that's what they want. Like we discussed. Like give these lone wolves like some action. Give them some action, because they're gonna have to deal with their previous actions later, right? So give them a really good combat. Let them tear things up for a bit, and then they reach town. And here's what I want you to have at this town. I don't know if this is possible given like where they left off, but here's what I would like to see, or I would like to hear about. The previous captain is there. He's at the tavern in town, and he's like hammered. He's like retired. He's got like his beard. Some of the crew is there with him. They're all hammered. They're all like out of a job now. They're just stuck. They're gambling their money. When the party shows up, they're gambling their money away. The captain's there. He's plastered. Like they're just rough, and then the party shows up. Now the reason I'm presenting this is because now they have a way to get back to the ship and repair. Like you could even have the engineer. Like you didn't bring this up before, but one of the crew members is an engineer and could easily fix the airship, and the party could find that out. But they don't want to. The crew is there, and they're like, "Screw you." And they kind of just like remind them of why they're there. You ruined our lives. I don't have a job. I don't have a crew, or my crew is all drunk and gambling their money away. None of us have any purpose in life. We're all just stuck at this tavern. It sucks.
All right.
And then the party's like, well, listen, we crashed the airship. Our bad. Will you help us? Will you come fix it? No way I'm helping you. So like that would be a really fun role play interaction, like convincing the captain and this engineer to come back and fix the ship and pilot it. Like, okay, look, we're bad. Like, convince the captain to come back. Like, even the captain may even offer, like, yeah, I'll help you fix your ship, but I'll be the captain. And the engineer's like, yeah, I'll fix it, but you got to stop. You got to let the captain do his thing. That I would present that. So that's kind of your way as a DM to present them like, here's your solution, but the captain's going to come back and he's going to take over, and then you just. Is that do you get what I'm picking up? What I'm putting down?
I get what you mean. Like it's like a apprehension of guilt. It's like, oh well, this is the consequences for doing so. These actions have consequences, unfortunately, and you need to find a way to fix the problem that you created. Yeah.
Yeah, and all it takes, like, they don't even have to go on a quest or anything. Just like because the captain wants to come back. The engineer wants to fix it. Like they want purpose. So right now they're just drunk. They're down on their luck. And then the party shows up like, oh, these guys, I hate these guys. And then like the role play, and then you just have a role play encounter. Hey, we're sorry that we kicked you off the airship. Okay. We need you. We crashed the airship. It's in the middle of nowhere right now in shambles. This happened. And then the engineer's like, well, I could fix it, but why would I? And then the captain's like, yeah, I could get you, you're a month out. Matter of fact, the captain could say like, oh, you're a month away from that town. I could get you there in 2 weeks, but why would I? And then like the party could be like, well, listen. All right. And then like, it could be an interesting role play encounter, especially those new players that like the role play and maybe those other two like, hey, come back. We need you. And then if the party's, I don't know how do you think that'll go? I guess I should ask.
I think, honestly, I have, I think it'll be, two of them will want to talk about it. The lone wolf characters will try to find any other which way. I think they'll try and take a horse themselves and like cross a ravine for like 2 months' time. I think that because it just sounds like something he'd do.
That's funny. Okay. You may have trouble convincing the
captain. Yeah.
You may have trouble convincing the lone wolf. You could create a more difficult combat encounter and like drop the lone wolf maybe just to like highlight how dangerous it is out there. Maybe if you wanted to.
I was thinking about that, but I don't want to like, God forbid it be TPK, and it's how do I do this? You're scrambling.
Although a TPK would be really funny if like somebody from town brought them back and healed them, and then they woke up and like the captain was there, like,
that's actually not a bad idea.
That would be kind of funny.
All right then.
Well, look who it is. Like the captain, like like some of the crew member have volunteered because they're out of work, right? Some of the crew member have volunteered at the infirmary. They're like, oh, look who it is. Looks like you need medical attention. That's unfortunate.
Okay, I get that.
Or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually gives them something to rely on. All right, I see what you're going with.
Yeah, I hope that helped. I hope you come up with something.
Well, no, it did. It's a fresh perspective, and I always enjoy your content and your advice whenever you make some of those shorts or videos that you put out, and I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. Let me know how it goes.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Later.
How do I?
Figured it out. What do you guys think? I think that'll work. I think that'd be fun. Could always use the other PC as a swoop in and save him. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to avoid. I want like, at least with the captain and the crew. At least if there's a role play encounter with the captain and the old crew, that is the party finding their own solution. Like if the party has to convince the captain to come back, that will feel more like a reward, I think. Or the party could like fix it themselves and just be self-sufficient. It sounds like they may want to be more self-sufficient. So they could go I didn't think about this. He already left, but if he still happens to be in the chat, if you're still in the chat, you could also have the party go to town and find the pieces they need to repair the airship. If you want the party to be more, if they don't want to deal with NPCs, then they could go to town and you can make them. That was the other option I was going to talk about, is make them self-sufficient. They go to town. There's some books there about how to, there's books on airships that they can read. They can learn about what they need to repair it. They can go on quests to find the pieces they need to repair it, and then they fix it themselves, and they fly that sucker where they need to go. Tracer coming in with the $20, always legendary. Thank you so much, bud. Thank you. You're legendary. With the $20. All right, next person. Dungeon Master Hotline. How can I help you? You're muted. Oh, the anticipation.
Now.
There you are.
Hello.
Hey, what you got for me?
It's more of an anxiety issue. I tried DMing.
Okay.
I thought even one of my friends convinced me to try running Spelljammer.
Nice.
And then it's like, I saw all the NPCs in the academy, and my brain was like, noped out of it immediately.
Noped out of it.
And I resorted to my, no, I can't, and it just, I kept on procrastinating, and eventually I just ended it. I can do everything but NPCs.
Okay.
NPCs just freak me out, and I just start procrastinating. What can I do to stop this?
What can you do to stop procrastinating? Okay. So
Go
tell me about your problem. Tell me about your problem with NPCs specifically. What is it about NPCs that are just you have this allergy to? What is it? Like, why do you know? Why
it's running them.
Running them.
I can't do it. I've been playing for so long, I just not used to running NPCs.
Well, tell me about it. Be more specific.
It's more or less, I'm given a personality, and I second guess myself. Then I check myself, and it's like, it's a spiral, a very bad spiral.
Okay. How well do you come up with your own characters? You draw up characters, right?
Oh, I do it all the time at work. Like, my job has me just walking around. So I have, currently right now I'm in 5 different campaigns, so I have 5 different characters.
Nice. Okay, so you're right. You're capable of coming up with a character. So we've got that. So tell me about the difference for you. Tell me about the difference between creating an NPC and creating a character. Tell me about the difference.
The character, it's more or less like, it's partially part of me, and then just what would make the class, the race, and that type of stuff. With an NPC, I don't want them all to seem the same, and then that's like, holy crap, there's too many of them.
So, all right. So just to make sure I'm hearing you right, your characters are generally similar across all of your characters are generally similar.
They evolve over time. I make characters that evolve over time. Like, none of my I'm not good at explaining myself either.
That's okay. No, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Go ahead.
It's just that I make a Cliff Notes version of a character concept and then work from there and building it.
Okay.
Because I don't like having a 5-page backstory for a level 2 character, because that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. So how would you feel about...
It's also that I don't want to... Also, sorry for interrupting you, but it's also that I don't like letting people down. So I'm constantly making sure it's like, are they having fun? Are they having fun? And it's like, that can annoy people too.
Okay. Well, listen, like, if you're having fun with it, your fun energy will transfer. So focus on that. Like, focus on your own fun, because I know that sounds selfish, but the logic is that if you're not having fun, it's going to be really hard to generate fun energy from a not fun person. If you're, imagine being a player and you sit down and your DM is not having fun. It is going to be difficult for you to have fun. If I was here right now not having fun, this stream would not be entertaining to watch. If your DM is not having fun, it wouldn't be fun to play in a game. Like, fun energy is transferable. So I want you to focus on your own fun. Like, find the things that are fun for you. And that's gonna
right now I'm going to focus on building those skills before I ever run a game again.
Now, as far as NPCs go, there's a lot of aspects that come from creating an NPC. And I doubt that you're bad at all of them. I doubt that you're like terrible at all of them. But if you're terrible at all of them, you have a lot, like, improvement will be easy, because some of these are just really simple. So how's this? Let's do an exercise. Let's see if we can find the weakness of your NPC generation. So I want you to ignore voice, first of all, because a lot of people that struggle with creating NPCs are usually like, oh, the voice. I just speak in my own voice. That's fine. Do that for now. How about a name? Can you create names on the spot?
No.
Okay. Whenever you prep, I want you to prepare a list of names. Like, I would imagine if I gave you 15 minutes right now, you could come back with a list of 20 names, right? Like, you think you could pull that off? Maybe not. Maybe not. How about 10 names?
Oh no, I'm just trying to think of, like, if I could get started, I could probably give you 40.
There we go.
Just
All right,
getting
yeah.
started is a hard part. No, I have a weird form of ADHD that I can't start on a task, but once I start a task, do not stop me.
That's perfect. All right, you got a list of names. Great. So now,
No, creating it is not the hard problem. It's just that when it comes to sitting down and have everyone staring at me, just anxiety issues.
Okay.
Especially since one of the players was my DM as well.
Okay. A lot of that anxiety will go away over time. Like the more experience you gain. Like,
No, when he was there, I did wonderfully. When he wasn't there, I was a nervous wreck because I knew I had him for backup.
nice. That's good. You have like a little I forgot the word for it, but I like that. That must be a really fun relationship to be in. I like that.
He's the DM for 2 campaigns I'm in right now.
So the great thing, I'm gonna shift gears here. The great thing about your issue specifically is we're gonna call it creating NPCs, right? That's your weakness.
It's more running them than creating them.
Running them, okay. Would you be okay with describing what an NPC does rather than quote unquote running them? Would you be okay with, okay, you enter the tavern and the barkeep hands you an ale, and then the party starts role playing with it, and you say, okay, the barkeep am I describing this well enough? Like, would you be okay with, instead of being the voice of an NPC, just telling the players what the NPC is doing? Because that's okay. That's fine.
That sounds a lot easier.
Yeah.
My brain's already turning for that. My brain's already turning right now.
Try that. So if the party walks up and say, hey, barkeep, I want an ale. The barkeep says, you, the DM, would say, okay. The barkeep reaches under the counter, grabs an ale, and sets it on the counter and slides it to you. That's different than, all right, I'll go get you an ale. Like that. Like, being the voice of an NPC and describing the actions of an NPC are different, but are equally effective. Instead of, oh, I've been having trouble with goblins in the mines nearby, you could say, the barkeep tells you that goblins have been giving him trouble in the mines nearby. See the difference there? Do you think you could pull that off?
Yes.
Lean into that for now.
Ironically, create a joke about bards, though.
Do what?
During the campaign, I had them shoot down a pirate ship full of bards called the SS Encore, and that stuck.
I like it. I think you're gonna do fine.
It was stupid, but it was just something I was like, why do I keep rolling bards on this table? I'm getting sick of it. Well, no, I'm just having blow up all the bards. My dice did not like.
Good.
It's more or less catharsis for me and for them.
I think you're doing fine.
But no, like, I love your content, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I like making it. What else? Practice creating, I guess I should say running NPCs. Running NPCs, you'll get the hang of it. And there's one more thing. Yeah, that confidence will come over time, for sure. I
plan on doing some IRL stuff with the coworkers once we get the chance to do it.
Exactly.
I got some of my coworkers into D&D, and they wanted to do an IRL campaign. So I'm not going to be the one running it, but I'm going to try help running it.
That would help a lot. Oh, I remember the other thing I was going to say. The other thing is, next time you draw up a character, I want you to pay really close attention to how, not next time you draw up a character, next time, as you described, a character evolving over time. You described it that way. You said your characters kind of evolve over time as you play them. That's great. I want you to pay really close attention to how that happens, and I want you to learn from it. I want you to harness that energy that causes a character to evolve. Like, what situations. So next time you draw up a character and play a brand new character that's just a note card that hasn't evolved yet. I want you to play that character, and I want you to pay close attention to how it evolves. I want you to constantly reflect on where the character was when you started and where it is now. And I want you to constantly do that. I want you to pay attention to how it evolves. And once you understand how your character goes from just a note card to a character, you're going to be able to generate NPCs like that. Easy. You're going to be able to run, not just generate, but you're going to be able to run NPCs very easily. Once you're able to harness the power of evolving a character quickly. And that's going to come from understanding how that works, how that evolution happens.
Well,
Makes
actually,
sense.
I have a good case for that today, actually.
Good.
My character today for Spelljammer avoided death by sheer, luck or belief. Because he almost became a shadow. He didn't, though. And he's still trying to figure out why the hell that happened.
That's good. So see, having these like life-changing events would be an example of like, oh, if I give them life-changing events, something that happened, I can kind of create this scenario. And I can tell you, I'm going to tell you like the secret to how I create NPCs. Y'all ready for this? I'm going to tell the chat, you and chat. My secret to creating NPCs is I just pull characters from a TV show. Sometimes it's literally a name. Sometimes I'll roll a name and it will be like James. And I'll just think of like, so I just said the word, like just said the name James. Like that just kind of came out of nowhere. But I immediately thought of James from Pokemon and now I have an NPC. My NPC is now James from Pokemon. It will literally be, that is exactly how I create an NPC. I will impersonate James poorly. I will, Pikachu, that is exactly how I create NPCs. Just like give me a name.
The sad part is I imagined the same James that you did.
See, like yeah, so like you've already got it. So the word James, I just immediately associated with James from Pokemon, and now I have my NPC. I'm just gonna pretend to be James. It doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter if it's a good impersonation because it's just like your poor impersonation is still a character. And that's how I create NPCs quickly.
Also, I have a couple questions that are not DM related, if you don't mind me asking them.
Sure.
They're more player related. Like, one of my characters has a plus 14 initiative.
Okay.
Is that too high?
I mean, it's just a number. I mean, of all the numbers to have really high that you have to deal with, turn order is probably the least effective. Like, who cares? Like that is the least of your worries.
So I got to the point where they don't even wait for that me to roll initiative. They say I'm going first.
Well, they still have to roll. They still roll a 1. Like a plus 14, or like if you're a goblin, I think goblins have like a plus 4 initiative. So if your goblin rolls an 11 and they roll a 1, the goblin's going before them.
It's a chronomancer, so it's a D20 and a D8.
Yeah, that's fine. Like being first in the turn order that's great, but it's not something you need to worry about. If they had like a plus 14 to attack, I mean, even attack wouldn't be that great because that just means like, okay, you don't miss. You don't miss. That's fine. But damage.
Oh, I limited myself to control spells to let the other players get more in.
Yeah.
But I did that because we have several newer players, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to let them have, like, I don't want to have the spotlight in combat as much because I'm the squishiest caster of the caster group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'll stick in the backlines doing control spells. You guys can do the blasting. And take all the credit for killing things.
Mm-hmm. What else you got?
That
it?
Also, one more thing. Like when it comes to like the spotlight issue, we usually have like two. Sometimes we have two players do like session role playing together. Hell, like, and then we also have a menagerie of NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where sometimes I think it annoys the DM, but he likes it. But we like him so much it doesn't bother him as much.
Okay.
How do I tell if I'm annoying my DM when I think I am, but he says I'm not?
Don't even think about it. If the DM isn't telling you, you can't start worrying about these like hypotheticals. This is just like this extends well beyond D&D. Don't start worrying about these hypotheticals. Like, am I annoying? Am I bothering somebody with this? Like, try to have some self-awareness, but if you don't, there's not like, you're not going to get any benefit from just trying to improve yourself. Or like, don't worry about whether, if somebody isn't telling you that you're bothering them, you can't like worry whether you're bothering them. You just kind of have like, have to have this self-awareness, this awareness of the situation that's going on.
Also, one last question before I am done. Do you have a Patreon?
Say again?
Do you have a Patreon?
I do. I do. I don't do much with it, but I'm working on the benefits. But I do have a Patreon.
So I'm looking for one more to sign up for, and I think it may be yours.
Hey, I've got a $1 tier, a $5, and I can't remember the last one, 25 maybe.
But yeah, like I've been playing for 10 years, and I freaking adore the games.
It's a great game. It's the best game.
But I'm gonna
10
stop
was the
hogging your
last.
time.
No, it's okay, bro. It's okay. You're great. I like you.
Oh, I need to get ready for D&D as well.
Bro, go get ready for D&D. You got some prep work to do. Go create some NPCs and run the hell out of it.
Oh no, I'm not running it. I'm just like I like to be ready for like a little bit early because I have a habit of showing up early for all the games.
Well, you have fun.
Thank you.
Take it easy, bud. I'm gonna move on to the next caller. Hey, you have fun. I do have a $10 tier. Yeah, I'm still like still reworking Patreon. I'm sorry for those patrons that are like subbed and they're like, "What is this for again?" If you're a $10 tier or 10 or 5, I think 10 and 5 both have access to the books. So that's the value that I'm giving right now is that you have access to the book sharing campaign. And if you don't, you should probably message me because if you're in the Patreon, you have access to all the D&D book. I have every D&D book on D&D Beyond. So if you're a Patreon, you have access to all the books. I didn't put $5 on it for what you mentioned. I just support you. The rest is bonus personally. Thank you. Yeah, it's really just like, hey, give me money because you like me kind of thing. But you also get access to all the books. All right, next up in the queue, hey, Dungeon Master Hotline.
Hi.
Hey.
Sorry, I gotta mute your stream.
It's okay.
So, first off, I really like your content, and I'm very glad that you do these. These are really helpful. I like listening to them a lot.
Thank you.
And next, I'm intending on running a one shot for kind of like similar to Helm's Deep.
Okay.
And one of the things I wanted to kind of get an understanding of is how should I run the combat with that large number of people? I know you want to break them down into like squadrons and things like that, but is there like any tips or pointers I should have for doing that?
Just so I'm understanding,
those individuals.
Helm's Deep is from the second Lord of the Rings movie where it's the castle built into the wall of the mountain. And then the orcs storm it.
Comes over the mountain on the third day,
Gotcha.
That whole thing. So
okay,
basically, sorry, go ahead.
So you want to run like a siege of Helm's Deep?
Yeah, the PCs are going to be on the defensive side.
Okay, the PCs are doing the holdout.
Yeah.
And you want advice on how to run that?
Yeah, like particularly, I kind of have a gist of like what I want to do for like prep. They're gonna, have to fix up Helm's Deep a little bit, kind of prepare the battlements, etc. beforehand.
That's fun.
Be like, get like a little bit of tactical thing along with some role play potentially. There's going to be only a very small number of units under their command, and then there's going to be a large number of people, sieging them, and they have like maybe 2 or 3 days holdout.
Okay.
That they have to go through. But my main thing is about there's a large number of enemies. How do I manage that?
How do you manage a large? Well, that's. I'm going to quote my favorite meme. That's the neat part. Yeah. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Exactly.
What I would do is I would separate all the groups. I would separate them into groups. I would create. So I'm imagining. It's been a while since I saw the second Lord of the Rings movie, but is it not
to be exact? I'm kind of homebrewing it, so yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of just create one out of thin air. I would have I would create singular enemies. As far as mechanics go, I would just create one enemy. And this enemy represents an entire group of one unit. So I would have maybe one enemy be the front line, like the fodder. And and this one token would represent a group. They have like a big old stat block would have a big old health pool, lots of attacks, but they're all melee. They would have a set amount of AC. They take damage. It takes away from the pool. And then I would have archers. They have ranged attacks, lower AC, lower health, but ranged attacks, lots of them. I would have the mages. They would have access to spells, which they continually cast. And then like, siege weapon. They do damage to the walls. So I would create those. So I just gave you 4 enemies. That's an army. I just gave you an army, but you only have 4 stat blocks to manage.
Yeah.
So I would come up with more than that. I mean, you could probably do like 6 or 7.
You could even just reiterate them too.
Like 3 frontline blocks.
Yeah, exactly.
2 mages. Yeah. So I would start there, and then. All right. What else you need?
I was thinking too to have like a couple of individual enemies that are similar to like how the players are going to be, because that's the other part is players are not necessarily going to be attached to a group like that.
Mhm.
They might be on their own, and then they have their defenders. I'm going to have the PCs control their own defenders, and so that I don't have to worry about managing them.
For
Give them
that
stat blocks. Yeah.
For that specifically, I would do events, because you're not just going to be sitting there at quote unquote Helm's Deep the entire time. So what I would do is like, okay, phase 2, like phase 1 is like you've got the wall up and the enemy's there, or actually phase 1 would be like doing those quests you were talking about to set up. But once the combat starts, phase 1, the front line attacks. Once they clear out once that event's over, you move on to phase 2. And then you switch the battle map to like maybe the courtyards. One of the special, like, remember that bomber it blows up a wall. Okay, so the wall blows up. Move on to phase 2. Phase 2, you switch the battle map. The party has to deal with like this specific. They have to kind of venture off into the side area, which you have a separate battle map for, and then you run another combat. That's phase 2. Phase 3, you're back to like you're back another wall back, and you have another. So I would basically break it up into phases, break the entire battle, the entire Helm's Deep battle up into phases. Wall, side mission, outer wall, side mission, and then transition those specific events. Does that help?
Yes, definitely. And then the other question with this is, for something like this, would you have any recommendations on like what level the PCs would want to be? Obviously, it's dependent on the number of PCs, because having like 6 level 3 characters will be way different than having 3 level 3 characters. But I was curious what you think. I'd probably limit it to like 4 people at most.
The level is really only going to determine the impact that the party has in the defense. Like a level 20 wizard is going to have a huge impact versus a level 1. But it's also going to impact the enemy that shows up. If the enemy has level 20 wizards, it's going to be ugly. And at a certain point, I would say at about level 12, maybe 14, or rather 13 and 11. At about a level 11, once you start getting access to like 6 level spells like Cloud Kill. Cloud Kill's 6, right? I'm not. I can't remember. Maybe 7.
To be honest.
Anyway, just look at the spell list. Once you get access to a specific list of spells, large groups of enemies are going to be irrelevant. Like a 20th level wizard can solo Helm's Deep, like solo that whole combat. You can still Cloud Kill's 5th. Okay, Cloud Kill would do a huge amount of damage to a large number. Would devastate an army. Is why I brought up Cloud Kill specifically. But there's other spells like Fireball would too, which is why I would separate them into groups like that. Like level really isn't gonna be super important, because.
And I think what I'd also do is make it so that area of effect spells just do double damage.
Yeah, I mean, you could
and you can only target one group with that.
Yeah, because you already created those tokens. So I mean, you could do it. You could do it that way. That's what I was kind of getting at with the levels. Is you depending on the levels, it's just going to determine your prep work. So it's just different levels of prep work. More levels they have, the more prep work it's going to like. It directly correlates. It's a 1-for-1. The more levels the party has, the more.
Like if I include flying enemies in that, I would probably want higher level characters. If I include, higher level mages, it's gonna higher level characters.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Everybody's got. I mean, the flying enemies are just going to be the flying enemies in the scenario that we've described aren't going to be much different than the archers. Like melee. So the thing what flying is basically I avoid melee attacks, and the archers and the wizards are going to be that same. Are going to be the same.
Fair.
It's still cinematic to. Oh, you know what the flyers do? They get to ignore walls. That was
the part that I was thinking.
Yeah,
They
so
might
that's
be able
fun.
to bypass and yeah.
But as long as you have ranged
even
attacks,
be a way of like where, let's say that special guy that's supposed to blow up the wall, if he doesn't, you can bring in the flying creatures to get to that other phase regardless and make it feel still epic. So okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for these tips. I appreciate
absolutely. You have a good one. Good
Take
luck.
it. Thank you.
How we doing? Could be fun to get some ballista. Yeah, siege weapons would be fun. Flyers, dragons, harpies, whatever. Just big group of flyers coming in would be great. All right, where are we? DM hotline. How can I help you?
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey man, I gotta mute your stream.
Sure.
All right, cool. So, first off, again, like the last few people, I just wanted to say your content's awesome. I always love watching it whenever it pops up. So
Thank
it's
you.
always a bright my day.
Hey,
And got a few questions, not too much.
I'm ready.
So for me, I'm running a session that's right now. It's pretty homebrew, and I'm very scatterbrained all the time. So for you, do you plan session by session? Do you plan whole campaigns ahead of time?
I do very broad strokes for a campaign. Very, very broad. Like, give me an example. You know what? Let's just. I'm trying to think of an example. All right, we were talking about Lord of the Rings. Let's talk about Lord of the Rings. So if I was preparing, if I was like, okay, I want to run a Lord of the Rings campaign, I would not prepare session by session. I would just say like, okay, I want the hobbits here in the first session. I want them to end here in the third. I want the Battle of Helm's Deep to take place, or I want the second movie to happen this many sessions away. It would just be really broad.
Okay.
Just in like very like the longer the campaign. Oh, very important. It depends on the length of the campaign too. I guess I should have started with that. If your campaign is going to be, if you want to run to level 20, don't even bother prepping the campaign. What I do if I'm running a campaign for a long period of time, I don't plan more than 3 months ahead because the game is going to change so much. You have no way of knowing what's going to happen that far. There's no reason to plan that far ahead. I plan for about 3 months, which is 12 sessions. If you do one session a week, 12 sessions, that's plenty.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good like I can't even think of the word. Rule of thumb. There we go.
System.
But yeah, so like
rubric, if you want to be.
Yeah, there you go.
Just those fancy words.
It's kind of hard for me, like I said. So like I have the idea for the campaign that I'm running right now. It's a homebrew world, and I have like the backstory created, and I have the end game created in my head, and then how to reach it from there, from point A to point B. That's where I struggle a lot. So I've got the map, I've got the world, I've got the what the adversaries, the enemies are trying to do, and how they're trying to like get to point A, but how the player character in the party, how they all trying to go in and unravel that plot itself. That's what I'm kind of struggling with right now. So like,
let's have a look.
Campaign. Okay.
Let's have a look.
Yeah,
what's the end game? What do you want? What do you want to be the campaign closed? Like you've got the campaign close in mind, yeah?
Yeah.
What is it?
So their PC is going to be like deciding how they want to do it, but in the end, it's either going to be the elimination of one dark pantheon, or the elimination of all the pantheons and create like a world just kind of free for the mortals themselves that are living in it, or they just do whatever the heck they want in the end. If they just want to abandon it, go for it. But save the world type stuff.
Save the world. All right, save the entire world from a pantheon, bunch of gods.
Yeah.
Are they going to be
demons, more or less?
Oh, demons? Are they going to be killing them one by one, or are they going to do like this big event that kills all of them?
Big event that's going to be killing them all. So, for my plan, if I can, what's going on right now is the good guys, the good gods eventually had like a war in heaven type of deal with the evil gods, the dark demons, stuff like that. They sealed them off, and then the way they have this seal on hell is by having the mortals give them worship, and then the gods take that energy and then they turn it into the energy they needed to keep the magical barrier sealed. There was a big World War II type of event. All the nations of this continent got into a war, and so they stopped focusing on worship. They started focusing on military planning and the war itself. So the seal weakened, and then there's a bunch of smaller demons that, after thousands of years of planning from their big, I don't know, demon princes, they're going in, they're trying to cause chaos to break up the seal itself, and then the rest of the demons come through. As of right now, in each nation, there is one aspect, one champion of each. I think there's 7 that I planned, dark gods, and they're trying to destabilize the churches of all the nations. And then, so there's a huge amount of power from the demon gods in these aspects. And then, once they, with the PCs, one by one, beat those guys, that'll weaken all the other demon gods, and then they can go into the spirit world and then wipe them all out in the end.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you've got a good deal of so you got a good deal of backstory at the ready. So what I would do, how long do you plan on running it? Like, you want 20 levels, a year, 2 years?
20 levels. Yeah, I've made some homebrew characters that are like pretty tough, so these guys better get to level 20.
Okay. All right. Whew. Okay. So with that, I'm just going to be, all right, let me keep it real. I want you to succeed. I do. I want you to run this campaign, this vision that you have, but I want to be real with you. Statistically, campaigns do not last that long. I want you to be different, believe me. But you're kind of like that buddy. You're kind of like that guy that just walked up to your friend, like, "Hey man, I got a business idea. We're gonna start a business. It's gonna be great." It's like, "Look, buddy, like I just want you to keep it real." So don't focus too much on the end. If the way to prevent that, I'm just gonna give you the advice. The way that you're gonna prevent that from happening, the way that you're gonna prevent the drop off, is I want you to hone in on what's in front of you, or like what's happening right now, not what is way off in the distance, way off in the future, not what's 20 levels away, what's 2 levels away. I want you to focus on what's right in front of you, not what's way ahead, because I've seen it 100 times, 1,000 times. I always see these DMs. I've played in games where this has happened. I've heard people, I've given advice to people that have gone through this. What DMs will do is they'll put so much emphasis on the backstory and the ending and never enough on the beginning that once the game starts, it's so boring that the players are not invested because, I mean, it's not the DM's fault. They just didn't put any emphasis on it. Like there's no work that was put into it. All the work was put at the end and the players aren't going to see that yet. So like I've played in games where I've sat down at the table. And it's like, all right, man, you've been writing this story for years. I can't wait. And then it's like, and it just falls flat. It's because the DM put no attention onto the first part. So what I want you to do is I want you to put a lot of emphasis on that start. I want you to nail that first part. Ignore the pantheon of gods. They're not important yet. They're going to come up later. I want you to really nail like the introduction. So what's your inspiration for this? Like, is there an anime you watch, a movie, video game for the Dark Pantheon?
I had a whole bunch of stuff.
Whole bunch of stuff. Good.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls. All right, let's use Elder Scrolls.
Just a bunch of stuff, man.
Let's use Skyrim. For example.
Let's go.
So the great thing about the introduction to Skyrim isn't like, you can think about the Skyrim story. It's got a ton of backstory, a ton of lore to it. But the intro to Skyrim is like, I'm a prisoner. I'm about to get executed. A dragon shows up, completely wrecks the town, and then I've got to escape. Like, that's exciting. That is emphasis. That's what I'm talking about when I say emphasis on the very beginning. It's like, I'm a prisoner. I get taken to this town. The dragon shows up. Boom! Like, starts with a bang. Really good. I think the Skyrim intro is amazing. Even though like a lot of people complain about that cart ride, but like the intro to Skyrim is really well done. Like, a dragon shows up, like you're about to get executed. The axe is like right above you, and then a dragon shows up, wipes out the town. You've got to escape the town. Like, it's just like really great. That's great. And then what? And then after the dragon, it's like you're kind of like, okay, we're gonna go to Whiterun and we're gonna do some Whiterun. You know, I join the Stormcloaks, whatever. Like, there's a lot of build up to the ending. It's kind of what I'm getting at. And I want you to model off. I want you to hit those notes. that make it really fun and exciting. I want you to make sure you hit all those fun and exciting notes. I don't want you to just be like, hey, the pantheon of gods are the bad. Like, do not start it this way. Do not start the campaign this way. The pantheon of gods are the bad guys. I don't want you to start. Do not start it that way, because you don't want like this. You don't want the same thing looming overhead for the next 20 levels. That will cause burnout so fast. It works in video games sometimes because video games are general. You don't play a video game for as long as you play a D&D game generally. And when you do, it's not the same quests over. You're not doing the same quest over this time. Like, could you imagine if you sat down for a video game? It's like, all right, here's the big bad evil guy. See you when you're gonna have to play the game for a year to get to it, and that would be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, snooze, man.
So you don't want that. You don't want the big bad evil guy to be looming over the party for the entire campaign. Wait a little while. Let the party get invested in the game first. Because if you put something in front of the party, the reason I say this is because if you put something in front of the party that they need to chase, they will get tired of chasing it after there needs to be, what's the word? The payoff. There needs to be a payoff. So you want to put something in front of them that they can get to, that they'll receive that payoff. You don't want to put them in front of something that's so far away that they'll never receive that payoff. They're going to just be chasing, and they're going to be exhausted, and they're going to get tired of it. The way to do that is you have the Pantheon of Gods. That's your level 20 payoff. You need a level 15, a level 10, a level 5 payoff. You need a level 5 payoff. So the level 5 payoff could be like, an example. The level 5 payoff could be a bunch of cultists that worship the dark gods. Or the evil Pantheon. So they're there. So the dark gods are there, but they're not looming over. Right now, the cultists are looming over. So your first session could be like cultists set themselves on fire and then run into a building and burn the building, like start hugging people and like it just cause all this chaos. And now the party's like, oh, the cultists are the problem. We need to deal with that. So the first few levels are dealing with the cultists. And then once the cultists are dealt with, like the gods, you kind of hint at the next thing, which hints at the next thing, which hints at the gods.
Okay.
So you want that you don't want the campaign to be one big payoff. You want the campaign to be a bunch of payoffs over time that build up.
Yeah, I do think that is my problem with that stuff, though. I am that DM. DM.
You'll learn. Like a lot of people start off. Hey, don't even worry about it. A lot of people start off that way. You'll figure it out. You'll see.
Oh yeah.
Go like.
I'm already. I feel it.
You'll see. Focus on that, like the first. So you have all this in mind. What does the first session look? Do you have the first session? Do you have the first dungeon?
We already did the first session.
Oh, okay. Do you have the second session? Do you have like the next dungeon in mind?
I'm struggling with it.
Yeah. So yeah, bring it right. Reel it back a bit. Like,
okay.
What's next? Just focus on what's next. I mean, it's fine. It's fine to like fantasize about the end goal, but listen, like. It's like I described, like, hey, I'm going to start a business. I got an idea. I'm going to start an LGS, man. It's like, look, man, like, you're not ready for that. You're not ready for that. Right?
Yeah. Oh, man. Shoot. So, like, yeah, one of the characters, like, I try to, like, to intertwine all, like, the characters' backstories with the main campaign. That's what I'm going for. And one of them is a Goliath whose tribe is in the mountains, and his dad went off on like some pilgrimage to try and bring something back that would benefit the tribe, and he hasn't come back. So he's the main plot hook right now. He's trying to find his dad in the big city, and there's playing like a little bit of swath of incursions from demons, and he's trying to see if either that's related to it, all while he's just trying to find his dad.
Yeah, I got you. Somebody in chat suggested Curse of Strahd. So Curse of Strahd, I believe, is 12 sessions. So that's 3 months. That's what I described. Strahd would be the big payoff, and then there's these story beats like the Sun Sword, Amulet, and Tome. See, I haven't run Curse of Strahd, but I do know some of it. But yeah, there's these story beats that you hit, like these really exciting bits that lead up to Strahd. All right, anything else?
All right.
How you feeling?
No, that's it. I appreciate your time, man.
All right, you take it easy.
All right, you too.
This is good advice not only for a DM, but for novice writer as well. That's what DMing is, really. Writing and improvising a story you tell with your players. Yeah, I mean, I personally would not focus on the end just because it's so hard to reach an end that you have in mind. But that's why I said really broad strokes and don't go farther than 3 months. Don't look ahead more than 3 months because it's really hard to reach most of the time. Like, it's okay to plan a year, and like, how long does it take to get to level 20 for people? Even if you did you run Ghost of Saltmarsh? I ran a good bit of Ghost of Saltmarsh, but not all of it. I ran a good bit of it. Ghost of Saltmarsh has my favorite adventure of across any module, and it's called Salvage Operation. I love that adventure so much. It's my favorite of all adventures. Of all the books, Witchlight, Curse of Strahd, Candlekeep. I think it's chapter 3, maybe chapter 4, Ghost of Saltmarsh. The chapter is called Salvage Operation. It is my favorite adventure in all of D&D written material. Just because it's so exciting to me. I had a DM, like, I told this to my party, and I had a DM run it for me, and I was like, I'm so excited. I was obnoxious. I was so excited because the party that I was with kept trying to like game the system, like kind of cheat the because there's a specific way that you have to handle the events that are going on in the chapter, and the DM didn't know how to run it. So the players were trying to steamroll them. And I was like actually advocating for the DM, like, oh, we can't do that. Like, I was just making stuff up. Like, we can't do that because extra-dimensional spaces. They wanted to put the box in an extra-dimensional space. And the DM was like, like just kind of got stuck. And I was like, oh, we can't risk putting the chest in an extra-dimensional space because it might be an extra-dimensional space and it'll blow up. And the DM was like, take an inspiration. I just really love that adventure. I was excited to play it. So I was annoying. I'll admit it. I was annoying. I don't care. It's fun. All right. We got one more person. I turned off the, did you have fun? They had fun. One of them chased a kraken, like dove into the water and chased a kraken. They had a lot of fun. That was fun to watch. Yeah, it was a blast. The DM did a great job. It was my favorite session they've ever run, as a matter of fact. I was playing a Beastmaster Ranger, and my pet, I'll never forget this. I was playing a Beastmaster Ranger, and my pet got polymorphed. The mage polymorphed my pet into a T-Rex. And there was like this heated debate between the mage and the DM whether or not I would have control of the T-Rex. I want you to think about this. I'm actually just going to ask this. If you polymorph into a T-Rex, generally you can control your character, right? The DM doesn't gain control of the T-Rex. You control the T-Rex or the giant ape or whatever you decide to polymorph into. This is generally the way it goes. But what if, imagine you're the DM or you're a Beastmaster Ranger. And for those of you who don't know, Beastmaster Rangers can control their pet with a bonus action. So you're the DM. And the mage polymorphs the Beastmaster's pet into a T-Rex. Can the Ranger command the T-Rex? It was a pretty heated debate. Obviously, the DM didn't want to allow it, and the mage did. The mage was like, he should be able to control it. And the DM was like, no, you should not be able to control it. I didn't mind. I was like, remember, I was the guy that was so excited about this adventure, I didn't even care. I was like, yeah, dude, I don't need to control it. Like, whatever you got. What's he doing? I'll give him I'll give you an idea what I want, but no, whatever. You can control him. It's fine. It's a T-Rex, whatever. I'm here for the ride. I'm having fun. Maybe like a Charizard check. Sadly, I would say no. Dragon, you would say no. Polymorph changes mental stats, which implies your mind changes as well. So some of you are you saying that you don't even allow, if you're a druid and you polymorph, no, it wouldn't be a druid. If you're a wizard and you polymorph yourself, you don't control your character. Who controls your character? Just commanding it without action wouldn't work for a T-Rex in action economy. No, it's a bonus. Beastmaster Ranger can command their pet with bonus action. I'm sorry, Adrian, I'm going to get you in here. Give me 1 second. Animal handling check. That's an interesting take. No, because it takes on the mental stats of the creature. Wow. All right, wait. Bonus action is good. Yeah, the Beastmaster Ranger can control their pet with a bonus action. What our DM was saying is, okay, not anymore. That's just what our DM was saying, that's a loose T-Rex, is what my DM was saying. And I said, all right, whoa, like my hiccup was like, whoa, is my pet about to start attacking me in the party? Because that's where I would be like, all right, look, DM, that's kind of mean. That's the downfall of Polymorph versus Wild Shape. Rules is written, I'd say no, but usually DM already has enough control, so I might allow it for fun. Yeah, in my games, if you Polymorph, you have complete control over. I like that bit about Polymorph changing your mental stats. I ignore that. As a DM, when you Polymorph in my game, you get complete control of your animal, because that's fun. That's cool. I like that. So please, by all means. But I'm different. I run the game very differently. I'm a candy DM, as some people like to point out. But yeah, I don't want to control your character, regardless of what form they take. I'm just gonna say it flat out that way. I want you to control your character. I don't want you to lose control. I don't even like using spells that restrain your character. I don't like restraining characters. Like, that sucks. Losing control of your character sucks, regardless of how it happens. That sucks. Whether it's good, whether you're a powerful T-Rex or you get turned into a weak, like a frog or a sheep, doesn't matter. Losing control of your character sucks, regardless of how powerful or weak they become. All right, let's go one more. Dungeon Master Hotline.
Oh,
Monty Hall speaking.
Okay. Sorry, because I was just like talking with the person in the waiting room.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just like oh, by all means.
No. It's okay. It's okay. So, because I have many questions to you, if you don't mind, of course, and I'm really happy that I could make it because I was working until very recently.
That's okay. You're gonna be our last caller for tonight.
Ah, perfect. So, I listened to your advice as for the last time, and I also, as you can hear, maybe my voice is a bit better because I finally got some earphones. But I listened to your advice about preparing the session in advance, so I prepared like at least one session right now because I didn't have time because of my work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they are very near to the forest, and I decided, okay, they can go to the forest. There are going to be some paths for them to follow, and they are going after the wolves. They are going to kill them, and I think that it's there when I'm going to give them the level up.
Okay.
So yeah, and on one of the wolves, they are going to find some indications that it's coming, like it's going to be part mechanical. So they are going to find something that will lead them to the artificer. And the artificer is also in the forest, but a bit like way on the north. So they will have to go into like deeper and darker part of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
What I prepared for now, I prepared the home of the hunter, where they are going to go. I think I'm gonna give them a bit of arrows inside.
Wait,
I'm gonna give them like.
Back up. You haven't run the wolves yet?
No.
You lied to me.
No, seriously. I wanted to, but
you said you listened to my advice. I told you to prep for the next session, not prep so many sessions ahead. I said prep for the next session.
It's not like prepare the session ahead. It's like because the next session they're going to the forest, and I prepared the whole forest with the wolves.
Okay, sure. All right.
I listened to you. I listened to you.
It's like, okay, all right. Prep for the next session. Well, the next session takes place in the entire forest, and the forest is going to last several sessions. So I'm just going to prep for the entire forest because that's the next session.
Yes, exactly.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So they're going to find a hunter's hut. I decided that, of course, they are going to find a mutilated body because, like, we're not playing like friendly safety game.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted them to find some like arrows, some like indication of what happened to him, and a bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I also prepared like so there are two places. In one, they are going to find the giant eagle that's nesting. The second is lake where they would be able to fish, and find some like the mushrooms as a supply.
Okay.
And there's actually like a secret path that's going to the hot sources,
Okay.
to the
I like
hot
it.
springs. And I want them, like, I took it actually from the initiation box. I want them to, like, if they are going to enter inside, they are going to gain 1d10 points of life, but only one time.
Okay.
Permanently. Is this okay?
1 point of life permanent.
1d10 point of life permanently.
Is that it? Like, can they stack it multiple times, or is it just once?
No, only one time.
It's fine. It's almost negligible.
I definitely don't want to like do too much because the problem is that, okay, I prepared the wolves and I prepared the story that comes with Artificer. So the Artificer actually turned himself into a robot as well. So they are not going to know it. They are going to enter, and at some point the fight is going to break out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's after hitting the Artificer that they are going to discover that it's not a human anymore. That it's a robot. So I homebrew pretty much the robot Artificer.
Okay.
And the thing is that he has 100 HP. Is it not too much for the second level?
Ooh, that is a lot for second level.
That is a lot?
It seems like a lot. How much damage? Like, so you want to know? So it seems like a lot, but I don't know what your party is capable of. You need whenever you're designing encounters, you need to know what your party is capable of. I can't give you advice for how to design encounters for a level 2 party if I don't know what this level 2 party, because even at level 1, even at level 2, even at the lower levels, like a party's design can vary vastly. A group of 4 moon druids at level 2 could steamroll the artificer you just described, but for I don't know, source rogues, 4 rogues would, they could probably do a lot of damage too. But anyway, my point is, like, you need, as a DM, monks, that's a 4 monks would get stabbed. Be there for hours. You need to know what your party is capable of. You need to know how much damage they can do in a round, in a turn, in a round. You need to know what spells they have prepared. Even though they're level 2, you need to know, like, what are they capable of.
That's the thing, because they didn't fight yet.
The entire campaign they haven't fought yet?
I mean, it's been only like 2 sessions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, because of my work, like we are finishing at midnight and very often the people are just dying. So I'm just like, okay, we can put it to another day, and there it goes.
This is why you want to give them the artificer. You need to have combats leading up to this artificer.
Yes. Of course, I'm going to have it. Like, I prepared the whole forest, and I have like a couple of encounters in here.
When they experience those encounters, because there's going to be combats, like with the wolves, for example. When they're fighting in these combats, I want you to pay very close attention to what it is they do, why they do it, and how they do it. Like, I need you to spend that time, because you can look at the character sheet all day and you can make assumptions, especially at level 2. If you look at a level 2 character sheet, you can generally figure out what it is they're trying to accomplish. But seeing it take place in front of you is going to make a world of difference, because that is how that player is playing it. So pay very close attention to what every character. How many characters you got? 4, 5?
I have 3.
3. Pay very close attention to what every single one of them does on their turn, how they move, where they move, why. Like, you just need to know what they're capable of, and you need to stay on top of that for the rest of the campaign. Like, that's essential. You need to know what they're capable of.
Well, we tried, like, we already played one game. It was like from the initiation box, and I can tell you that they don't know what they are doing.
That's okay.
So
in that case, you can guide them, and then that's even easier.
Yeah. So the thing is that, like, I'm a bit scared that this artificer can be like TPK in one go.
Adjust the artificer as you learn about your party.
Okay. That's
How many sessions away is the artificer?
How many sessions away? I was thinking like 2 or 3 sessions away. Like first they are going to go to the forest, right? So there's going to be like a lot of stuff to find because like I have the giant eagle, I have the lake where you can find the mushrooms, I have the hot sources, I have the I don't know how it's awakened tree.
Heck yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have awakened tree, and even if they're like planning to go off-road, I have some animals that can find in certain areas. I have like the 2 brown bears at one point. The pack of what's that? It's not the pigs. The pack of the
wolves.
No, not wolves. It's like the wild pigs. Boars. Yeah, exactly. And I also have ruins at some point, but at the ruins I didn't prepare any encounter yet because I didn't have time, sadly.
Sure.
So my idea is also that I want them to find some stuff. Like I have no idea because I was trying and trying and trying. I don't know what they can find as objects because in Dungeons and Dragons, yes, the magical objects, the most of the objects is like described, right? But like there are objects that cost like 10 gold pieces, 50, 100, 100, 200, and the thing is that I want them to find, at least for the beginning, like objects that are of some value, but not too much, not like 10 pieces of gold straight away. Of course, at the artificer's place, yes, but at the other places, I want them to find something to be useful, or they can sell it, but not forcefully be too expensive.
Wait, you said you're okay with them finding it in the artificer's place, but not the woods?
Yes, exactly. Because like
yeah,
sorry.
What's the difference? Because it's not like they can sell it in the woods.
The difference is that like they are in the woods. I'm just like trying to be logical about this because like okay, in the woods they can find some stuff, but
if you want, if you want,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can find value out in the woods. You can find like a valuable gemstone or, maybe you said there's ruins. I mean, you can find value in those ruins for sure. What was the, what was the component you were talking about?
The component? What do you mean?
You said you didn't, there was something valuable that you wanted to.
So at the hunter's place, I would want to like plant 1 gem. Cost like 10 golds more or less. Already for the heads of the wolves there is a prize that they're going to gain and they're going to meet the mayor thanks to this. And the other thing is that at artificer's place I was actually thinking about them like finding some acid vials, like 2 or 3, because well it's a home of artificers, so I'm thinking about some like metal objects, like some clanks maybe.
Sure.
And a lot of bodies, definitely a lot of bodies.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Corpses. Yeah. So, and I was actually thinking maybe that I can do some like secret basement as well in the artificer's place. Like there is this lab, and when you go deeper inside, you can actually find something very precious. But it's very dangerous to pick it out.
That's fun. Yeah. Secret stuff is fun. Optional side quests are fun. Locked behind the skill check. Did you see the secret door? Like roll a perception, see the secret door. If you see it, you get a little side quest. That's great. Those are great.
Oh,
fun.
And actually, the question, like one more question for you, because like,
I'm ready.
So the secret stuff. Am I supposed to like try to guide my my colleagues, like my players, to the secret entrance, to the secret passages, or am I just supposed to tell you that okay, like you can see like something that's a bit unnatural?
It
like,
depends.
Should I tell them? Yeah,
if it progresses the story forward, they need to find it. You can't put it behind a skill check. Like let's say there's like the party's on a quest to save the princess at the top of the tower, but her bedroom is locked, like magically locked, and you need a specific key. you don't want to put a skill check behind finding the chest with the key. It needs to be a decision tree that gets to that. Because imagine the rogue walks up to the chest and is like, okay, I'm going to roll a sleight of hand to pick this lock so that I can get the key to go release the princess. And they fail the check. Now what?
Yeah, true.
You can't move forward. You cannot move forward. So do not put, I see this a lot. This actually happens in modules a lot, which is surprising. I usually whenever I do my module guides, I always point it out. Like sometimes they will put a skill check that if they fail, then the story can't progress. Don't do that. Like that's terrible. Don't do that.
Yeah,
you can have,
I agree.
The way around that would be, okay, the rogue failed the check. Now they have to find another way into the room. That's fine. But you don't want all roads to lead to a skill check, because if that skill check fails, there's nowhere to go. Like, oh, we failed. We can't. And you can't say just roll again, because that eliminates the point of having the check in the first place. Like, oh, I failed. Oh, let me roll again. Oh, I failed. Let me roll again. Okay, now I opened the chest, got the key. That's nothing. That's just the illusion. I hate that.
Yeah,
that's useless.
It's just like trying until you do it. It doesn't make either sense or a point.
Skill check should be for like optional things and convenience. Like, oh, if I fail this skill check, if I pass this skill check, I can unlock this locked door, and now we don't need to find a key. Convenience. Oh, I passed this perception check. I found a secret door. That secret door leads to some optional content with some fat loot. That's what all rolls should be for. A roll should not determine whether or not you could progress it. I know this sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised. A roll should not determine whether or not the story progresses. Never do that. Easy rule to make.
Okay. And just like, because like this is only one location. The forest is only one location that I prepared just for them. And the thing is, like, do you think that it's too much a bit? Like, I'm wondering because I think that in the forest they can gain up to 2 levels or maybe even 3 if they will kill absolutely everything in it. So isn't this too much as for one location? Because like, being honest, they are going to one place and they're going to come like at least 3 times stronger than they were before.
How?
Because of the levels. Because like, after killing the wolves, I'm planning on giving them the 2nd level. Just so they will be able to even try and fight with the artificer.
Right.
And after artificer, like, of course, this is like, I'm trying to make a really demanding fight. I'm not trying to kill them all, but I'm trying to do something that is going to be on a line. And after this, I would also like to grant them the 3rd level.
That's fine.
But I'm just... Is it okay, actually? Because like, it's only one forest. They are going to come back, and they are going to be 2 levels above.
Listen. They're level 1 right now, and then they're going to be level 2 after the forest?
After the wolves, yes.
After wolves. Get them to level 2. I think, get them to level 2. Level 1 and level 2 suck. Especially for classes that get their subclasses at level 3. Get them through it. Just get it over with. It doesn't matter. Like, even if they ignore the wolves, just give them a level. Whenever I run a game, you will not spend more than 1 session at level 1, and you will not spend more than 1 session at level 2, regardless of what you do. Even if the entire party sits in the tavern drinking and gambling, you're going to get to level 2, because level 1 is lame and level 2 is lame. Just get to level 3. No matter what.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing up to the set. Thank you for playing the game. Thank you for being here and role playing. Good for you. Here's a level. Get them to level 3 ASAP, because those levels suck. I was in a game. I'll never forget this. I'll never forget the deciding factor for me, because sometimes up until this event that I'm about to describe to you, I was like, I guess you could do 2 levels. I guess you could do 2 levels at level 2. That's not so bad, right? And then I played in a game. I was a bard. For those of you that don't know, bards get their subclass at level 3. I was a bard, and we were level 1. No, we were level 1 for a month, and we were level 2 for another month. And I ended up dropping that game. I was like, I can't. This is too slow. I spent 2 months without my subclass. I was like, I run campaigns in 3 months, man. I was like, I'm done with this. This is too. And it's not for everybody. It's not for, like, some people like that really slow burn, and they want to enjoy it. They want to enjoy the ride. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I don't. I want to get through. I want to do stuff. I want to have fun. I want to do stuff. I want to kill stuff. I want to level up. I want to get powerful. I want to beat the campaign so we can move on to the next game. I don't want to sit here for a year and get to level 6. All right. Because think about it. If we had because I remember telling the DM did this thing. He was like, "Hey, how am I doing?" And I was like, "Let me tell you how you're doing." I don't mind telling you. Here we go. If we continue at this pace, we're gonna be level 6 by the end of the year. That sucks. Does that sound fun to you? No.
Yeah, that
sucks.
does not sound fun to me.
Think about it. Think about it. All right, right now it's May. No, it's May. It is May, right? May 27th. Think about if you had started a campaign on January 1st. I want you guys to think all the way back to January 1st and imagine you just hit 5th level. That is too slow. Yeah. That sucks. Definitely. Wow, I just got Fireball. It's been 6 months. No. No.
Yeah, that does not sound like fun. I mean, of course, there are some people that are enjoying like the roleplay so much, but I think that I'm going to go with milestones instead of XP. Yeah, that's fine. And like if you're upfront, if the DM had been upfront with me about it, like, hey, this is how long the game's gonna go, and this is hard. It would have been different if I had been prepared for it, but I wasn't. I was just like, oh wow, we're hitting 2. Are we level 2 now? Like, oh, it's been a month. We're level 2 finally. Yeah, I just wasn't ready for it. Like if you kind of set me up for that type of game, sure, but I was not ready for that. But yeah, so that's just something. It's a very long way of saying something to think about. You know, get them, because it's a lot different when you have your cool stuff. Level 3, like the reason I say that specific, I put so much emphasis on that is because level 3 is when most characters cool stuff happens.
Yes, that's when most characters become their character. You're not a necromancer or an evocation wizard until level 2. At level 1, you're just a wizard. At level 3, you're not, or level 2, you're not I was an eloquence bard. I was playing an eloquence bard. I don't get my eloquence stuff. I'm not an eloquence bard until level 3. I don't take my oath as a paladin until level 2. Like the subclass is such a defining thing. If you'll pay attention to like classes and how they progress, you'll notice that their core mechanics of a class, the warlock's pact magic, their otherworldly patron, their bond are all at level 3. The bard gets their bardic inspiration, level 1. The druid gets wild shape, level 2. All of these core things that make you that class, like everything about you happens in those first few levels. And you want to get them to that point as soon as possible.
Okay.
Another way to put it, imagine being a druid for like that game I was talking about. Imagine being a druid for a month and you haven't wild shaped yet. God, 4 sessions and you've never wild shaped. Get me out of here. Anyway, all right. Soapbox. All right, I'm off the soapbox. That's all I was getting at. That's all I was getting at.
No. Like I understand the pain. Honestly, I understand the pain.
Yeah. You don't want to don't put your players through that. Don't put me through. I'm your player. Don't put me through this, please. I'm going to speak on behalf of your players. Please don't put me through this.
Okay. I'm trying. I will try to keep the pace. So 2 last questions. The first one is about my warlock, because you just talked about it. So here's the thing. My warlock has like a pact with the higher deity, the chain god. And
the chain
like
god?
The idea, yeah, the chained god.
Chained. Is it Thurston?
I think.
Okay. Which question?
So the thing is that like she has a spear, and she has a spear that's chained to her arm. I just wanted to make it as a flavor and also as the mechanic, because I was thinking that to make it a mechanic that every time she throws her spear, her chain can bring it back to her. But the thing is that should it be a bonus action to bring it back?
No, it just comes back.
It just comes back. Okay, perfect. Because
the reason I
was
say
just wondering
that,
if it's not too OP.
No, that's definitely not too OP. Listen. I know it sounds like you're kind of like giving them. I want you to think about it like this. I don't want you to think about how powerful it is. I want you to think about how essential it is. Like it sounds like this character is built around this way, like having this weapon, like that, like the
Exactly.
weapon is a core part of their like of the class fantasy or their character fantasy rather. Like it's chained to them. It's literally chained to them. Like this, like they probably have like some like it's their pack weapon, right? They haven't got the pack yet because
like
it's level 3, but
it's always chained to them. Like they can put it somewhere, but they can't go further than like 10 meters from it.
yeah. So having it come back to them gives them like this essential part of their being all the time. Like it lets them continue to do what they do. I know they get to throw, like you get to throw it every turn, sure. Like they basically have infinite ammo, big deal, right?
Yeah.
So imagine, if you will, without it. Let's say they don't have it. They throw their spear, and now it's on the other side of the battlefield. Now next turn, it's the start of their turn. I don't have my spear. I have to spend an entire turn to go pick up my. It's not like you could just keep a load of these chained spears on hand. That kind of takes away from that takes away from this personal weapon that they have. Because this is my thing. This is my spear. It's chained to me. They don't have like a quiver of spears that they could just pull from. They got this one. That's what they have. So imagine starting your turn without the spear. It's like, oh, I'm naked right now. I need to spend a turn to go run and pick up my spear, and now I'm back to the beginning. Now I'm back to where I want to be. Now next turn I can actually throw it. If you think about it in that kind of lens, it's like, okay, this spear is essential. Having this spear in their hand at the start of their turn is essential part of their character. Whether you like that or whether you agree with that or not, it's still a thing. So I would 100% let them have a returning spear. They throw it, it comes right back. Next turn, guess what? You have the spear in your hand, you can use it again. That's your spear, it's part of you, it's chained to you. Yeah.
I agree. Honestly, I agree with that.
Well, then there you go.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure if like I'm not doing, because like I know that sometimes some people can like be too offering for the others, and then after all they are making like the campaign and people are just like trashing through it because they're too strong because of some stuff they've gained.
Just pay really close attention to the fantasy they're trying to achieve. If they're like, I have this one spear, I don't want to carry a bunch of spears around because that doesn't make sense. That's a flavor. They're trying to match the flavor with their mechanics, and that's wonderful. I love that. But if you were to say like, okay, now I have this spear that returns, I'm gonna just have like a bunch of these. I'm just gonna keep hucking spears. Like I'm just gonna keep a bunch of them. Like I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that the DM gave me this special thing. That's when you can really tell when you start paying attention to the flavor that they're trying to accomplish. When you start paying attention to like their flavor, like how they expression, I think would be even a better way to describe it. When you start paying attention to their expression, it'll be really easy to separate like, oh, they're just trying to get a mechanical benefit. They're just trying to win. They're just trying to win at D&D rather than they're trying to get more immersed in their character. It'll become really obvious.
Yeah, if there will be like a real problem, I can also, because like the warlock was already sleeping once, and I played like in a place of his god, so I just like had very short conversation, very like mysterious one, because I wanted to keep it in the mood. Mm-hmm. And so if like the stuff is going to go west, I'm just going to like trying to diminish it a bit, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
And my last question.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
Because it's night, I don't want to take too much of your time. You already like gave me so much, so mm-hmm. I'm really thankful for it. So the thing is that you were just saying about the subclasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have only the player's handbook, which is okay. It's good. I have the subclasses and I have some like interesting stuff. But the thing is, because I know that there are books like Tasha's Cloudjourn, if I'm not wrong, and Xantar's Guide to Everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So the thing is that I've heard that in those books you can find first new classes as possible, because like I know that in Tasha's you can find Artificer, which I would love to have at least some inside look into it. Mm-hmm. And you can find so many new subclasses. And I'm just wondering about buying this because, okay, it costs a bit. both of the books. I just like asked the last time in the shop, or maybe I can buy it from Amazon. I don't know. But the thing is that I'm wondering about buying it because I want my players to have like a bit more options, a bit more fun about it. And also for myself, because maybe this year I will be studying, and of course I'm planning on bringing the people together and making a D&D game.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead. So the question is, should you buy it? Should you get it? Is it worth it?
Should I buy it? Is this like, is it worth the haste?
I think that Xanathar's and Tasha's is 100% worth it. With that being said, I don't know your financial situation. You're going to have to weigh the pros and cons of that. So
I can definitely afford it.
Keep in mind that 1D&D is coming out next year, and it's not going to invalidate everything before, but
it's going to change a lot.
Things are going to change. Things are going to be changing really soon. You can find these things online, or somebody can like give you access to their books if you know somebody, or you can raise the black flag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can find this stuff. I mean, if you just Google artificer, you could probably find like what you need. I think the books are worth it. I think they're worth it. I buy every book that comes out when it comes out twice. And this was even before I gave people access. I collect them. I especially think that Tasha's and Xanathar's are 100% should be
worth it.
Yeah, should be your next purchase because they give so many player options.
Okay, so that closes the question. I'm sure I'm going to buy it at the end of the month. But 1D&D, it's coming next year. But does it mean that it doesn't mean that I won't be able to play E5? It just means that there will be a new module.
So it will be compatible, but it's
different.
We don't have all the information. We don't have all the information that we need let me give you an example. Remember like Tasha's gives you subclasses, right? Well, some of those subclasses are for the bard. They give you some bard subclasses. Bards are going to change in 1D&D, and subclasses are going to be very different. A bard subclass right now, I think, gives you 3 features at various levels. When 1D&D comes out, bard is going to change to like 4 features, and the levels are going to be different. So it's going to require more work on your part to convert those. And like people online will fix it, and it won't be hard. But just remember that
I'm just not sure if I will be like into the 1D&D. The things I have already, it pleases me a lot. And after all, we are not obliged to play the newest version. So, yeah. Thank you for your time. Really thank you. And thank you for your advices and for the guidance that I could have. Thanks to you. Thank you for the time that you sacrificed for me, because I know that I'm pretty sure that from all of your D&D hotline attendance, I took the longest. So I'm sorry, guys,
you were last.
If you were waiting. Yeah, but still, maybe next time I'm actually I like being last, because at least I can talk openly about the stuff I really want to. And
you don't have anybody behind you
to
that's
worry
waiting.
too much. Yeah. But it was very nice. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the feedback. I really appreciate the ideas. And thank you for guiding me up to or giving me advice on pace of the campaign.
Sure.
In which I should do it. Mm-hmm. And for the advice on the guides, because I'm for sure I'm going to buy it.
It's a good one.
So I wish you a good night. Really thank you for the work that you're doing as a dungeon master, and for all the shorts that you gave, because most of them are very inspiring.
Thanks, bud. Take it easy.
You too.
The man. What happened to Tears of the Kingdom? We gotta do our weekly DM hotline. You didn't know the Steely Sam lore? Black man, I'll be a pimp mage alchemist. His shorts are great. Hey, thanks. Glad you like them. Oh, my puppy needs some attention. My puppy needs some love and attention. You like my shorts? Thanks for the stream. Did y'all hear that? Don't apologize to me, bud. Apologize to Homer. He's getting impatient. You see this puppy back here? Look at him. What you doing, boy? The flab. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get off here and chill. The flab speaketh. I'm assuming you meant flab. All right, yeah. I'm gonna get off here. We'll do some more Tears of the Kingdom tomorrow. What am I gonna do tonight? You know what I honestly want to do? I kind of want to do shrines off stream. Maybe I won't. Should I do? What do I do? What do I do off stream? No, I like doing them on stream. Tomorrow we might beat the game tomorrow. I don't know. What's your dog's breed, if you don't mind me asking? He is a basset hound, and his name is Homer. Been lurking, cooking kebabs. Thanks, bud. DM Hotline, episode 12 is at a close. Thanks for the fun. DM Hotline's a blast. Flab. He is a flabby basset hound, and he's precious. He is precious. He is flabby. And he's cuddly. He's also cuddly. GG's all around. Next stream will be, all right, so I'm going to get off of here. I'm not going to stream anymore tonight because I need to do some recording. So I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to chill for a bit. Check your DMs. My DMs? Oh, Justin, check your DM. Okay. Because I'm like sitting here like, what are you talking about? The next stream will be tomorrow morning. We're probably going to beat Zelda because we don't have anything else to do. We don't have DM Hotline and I don't have work. So we'll probably just have a nice long 8-hour beat Zelda stream. Finish the game stream. I need to come up with a fun name. Ganon dies today. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see y'all then. And if I don't see you, I'll see you some other time. See you in the Discord or something. Join the Discord, man. The man and Black Man. All the mans. Black Man and the man. Y'all join the Discord. Stay informed. We chill in there. Much love. I'm out. Peace.